The year doesn't change your life. Your habits do. 2025 didn't fail you. You carried the same patterns into it and watched the same results come back. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't change 3 specific habits, 2026 will look exactly like 2025. Same stress, same excuses, same feeling of being behind. Not because you're incapable, but because habits don't care about your intentions. They only respond to repetition. Most people believe a new year brings a clean slate. It doesn't. It brings a mirror. And what it reflects is not who you want to be, but what you repeatedly do. You wake up with plans, but the day escapes you. You promise yourself change, but comfort pulls you back. You know what to do, but somehow you don't do it. And slowly, quietly, another year slips away. This video is not here to motivate you. It's here to expose the 3 habits that silently destroyed your progress in 2025 and will destroy 2026 too, unless you remove them. If you stay till the end, you'll gain something more powerful than motivation. You'll gain clarity. Clarity about why you feel stuck. Clarity about what to stop doing. And clarity about how to make 2026 fundamentally different. Not louder, not busier, but better. Because improvement doesn't begin with doing more. It begins with doing less of the wrong things. Let's start with the first habit. The habit that looks harmless, but quietly ruins your future. You delay decisions. Not because you're lazy, but because you want certainty. You overthink. You wait for the right time. You tell yourself you'll start when things feel clearer. But clarity never comes first. Action does. Psychologically, the brain avoids decisions because decisions create responsibility. Once you decide, you can no longer pretend you're trying. So you stay in planning mode, watching videos, saving posts, waiting. But waiting has a cost. Every delayed decision strengthens hesitation as an identity. You stop trusting yourself. And when self-trust disappears, discipline collapses. Think about how many things in 2025 you postponed. Health, learning, conversations, boundaries. Not because you couldn't do them, but because you kept thinking about them. And here's the pattern interrupt. What if the reason you feel stuck is because you're living in preparation mode instead of execution mode? Decisive people aren't smarter. They're braver. They accept imperfect action over perfect delay. And until you build the habit of deciding quickly, calmly, consistently, your life will remain theoretical. Now let's move to the second habit. This one feels productive, but it's quietly exhausting you. You consume more than you create. You scroll. You watch. You listen. But you rarely produce. Content gives the illusion of progress without the discomfort of effort. It makes you feel informed, motivated, inspired. But inspiration without execution becomes mental clutter. Your brain starts confusing knowledge with action. You know a lot, but you apply little. Psychologists call this passive consumption fatigue. Your mind is full, but your life doesn't move. In 2025, many people consumed more information than ever before, yet felt more confused than ever. Because information does not equal direction. Creation builds clarity. Consumption without creation builds anxiety. The moment you start producing, writing, building, practicing, speaking, your mind organizes itself around reality. But when you only consume, you live in other people's momentum. Ask yourself this: how much of your day is spent watching other people live the life you want? That question alone should make you uncomfortable. And discomfort is useful, because the cure is simple. For every hour of consumption, create something small. One note, one page, one idea. Creation doesn't need an audience. It needs honesty. Which brings us to the third habit, the most dangerous one. You break promises to yourself. Not big promises, small ones. I'll wake up early. I'll work out. I'll stop wasting time. And when you don't, nothing happens. No consequence. No correction. So your brain learns something powerful and dangerous. Your words don't matter. Self-discipline is not about willpower. It's about self-trust. Every broken promise weakens your internal authority. And without authority, motivation dies. This is why 2025 felt heavy for many people. Not because life was hard, but because they stopped believing themselves. You can't build a better year on broken self-trust. So here's a hard interruption. What promise did you make in 2025 that you quietly abandoned? That's where the repair begins. Now let's connect everything. Delayed decisions, passive consumption, broken self-promises. These habits form a loop. You hesitate, you distract, you disappoint yourself, and the cycle repeats. Breaking this loop doesn't require intensity. It requires identity change. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming through this action?" This is the mindset shift that changes everything. Success is not achieved. It is practiced. Discipline is not forced. It is chosen, daily, quietly, without drama. 2026 will not become better because you work harder. It will become better because you live cleaner. Cleaner inputs, cleaner commitments, cleaner decisions. Imagine waking up knowing you'll follow through, not because you feel motivated, but because that's who you are now. Imagine consuming less noise and creating more meaning. Imagine deciding quickly and adjusting along the way. That version of you doesn't need hype. They move calmly, and calm consistency always wins. Now let's slow down, because the biggest mistake people make when hearing this is trying to fix everything at once. Don't. Pick one habit, just one, and make it non-negotiable. Decide faster, or create daily, or keep one small promise no matter what. Momentum doesn't start with ambition. It starts with reliability. You don't need a perfect plan for 2026. You need a trustworthy relationship with yourself. That's it. Now here's the final truth. Years don't change lives. Systems do. If you carry the same habits into a new year, you carry the same results. But if you remove just these 3 patterns, 2026 cannot be like 2025. It becomes lighter, clearer, stronger, not overnight, but permanently. And now the final question. When 2026 ends, what do you want to thank yourself for? Deciding sooner? Consuming less? Keeping your word? That decision doesn't belong to the future. It belongs to now. If this video gave you clarity like it helps others find it. You don't lose years suddenly. You lose them quietly. One delayed decision at a time. One distracted evening at a time. One broken promise at a time. And the dangerous part? Nothing feels wrong while it's happening. Life looks busy. Days feel full. You feel tired, so you assume you're progressing. But exhaustion is not evidence of growth. Let's slow this down, because the first habit doesn't just delay progress. It reshapes how you see yourself. When you delay decisions long enough, hesitation becomes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who acts. You become someone who waits, waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for conditions to improve. But life does not reward waiting. It rewards movement. This is why decisive people appear lucky. They move before certainty arrives. They understand something most people don't. You don't need confidence to act. You need action to build confidence. Every decision, even a small one, trains your nervous system to tolerate responsibility. And responsibility builds strength. Think about it. When was the last time you made a decision quickly and trusted yourself to figure it out along the way? That feeling, uncomfortable but alive, is the doorway to change. Now let's move to the second habit. This one is subtle. It hides behind self-improvement. You consume endlessly, but execute rarely. In 2025, information was everywhere. Podcasts, videos, posts, advice. But information overload creates paralysis. The brain wasn't designed to absorb endlessly without output. Without action, knowledge turns into pressure. You feel behind, not because you're ignorant, but because you're overwhelmed. Here's the psychological trap. Consumption feels safe. Creation feels risky. Watching costs nothing. Doing costs effort and ego. So you scroll instead of starting. And slowly, your mind associates learning with avoidance. That's why many people feel mentally tired without doing anything hard. Their brains are full, but their lives are empty of progress. Now interrupt this thought. What if you stopped learning for a moment and started applying what you already know? You don't need more information. You need fewer inputs and more output. The shift is simple but powerful. For every piece of content you consume, create something, however small. Write one idea. Practice one skill. Take one step. Creation organizes the mind. It gives your thoughts direction. And direction creates momentum. Now comes the third habit, the one that decides whether anything sticks. You don't keep promises to yourself. This doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. But uncorrected, it becomes destructive. Every time you say, "I'll do it," and don't, your brain records that failure. Not consciously, subconsciously. Over time, your self-image changes. You stop seeing yourself as reliable. And once reliability disappears, discipline becomes impossible. You start negotiating with yourself. "I'll do it later. Just today. Tomorrow for sure." And self-negotiation kills progress. Because growth requires authority. You must believe your own words matter. The solution is not harder promises. The smaller ones. Promises so small that breaking them feels embarrassing. 10 minutes of focus. One page. One walk. And you protect those promises fiercely. Because every kept promise rebuilds self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of discipline. Now pause. Which promise did you break most often in 2025? That answer matters. Because that's where your confidence leaked. Let's connect all three habits. Delayed decisions create hesitation. Overconsumption creates confusion. Broken promises destroy self-trust. Together, they create stagnation. Not dramatic failure. Quiet stagnation. And stagnation is dangerous because it feels comfortable. You're not failing hard enough to change. And not progressing enough to feel fulfilled. That's why 2025 felt okay. But heavy. And unless you interrupt this loop, 2026 will feel the same. Now here comes the mindset shift. Success is not built through massive changes. It's built through behavioral alignment. When your actions align with your values, even in small ways, your mind relaxes. You stop fighting yourself. You stop needing motivation. You become consistent by default. This is the version of you 2026 requires. Not louder, not busier, not more intense, but cleaner. Cleaner decisions, cleaner inputs, cleaner commitments. And here's another interruption. What if the problem was never time, but attention? Where your attention goes, your life follows. If you keep giving attention to hesitation, distraction, and excuses, they grow. If you give attention to action, creation, and follow through, they grow instead. The year responds to what you repeat. Now take a breath. Because the next part is where everything comes together. Now comes the most important part. Because awareness without integration changes nothing. You can understand everything and still repeat the same year. So this final section is not about learning. It's about becoming. The version of you that enters 2026 does not need motivation. They need standards. Standards are different from goals. Goals are what you want. Standards are what you refuse to tolerate. In 2025, many people tolerated things they shouldn't have. Late nights that drained mornings. Distractions that stole hours. Excuses that felt harmless but weren't. Standards draw lines. I don't negotiate my mornings. I don't break promises to myself. I don't consume without creating. These aren't rules. They're identity markers. And identity is stronger than discipline. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. This is why most people fail even with clear plans. They try to act like someone they haven't become yet. Real change happens when behavior follows identity, not the other way around. So instead of asking, what should I do in 2026? Ask, who must I be daily? Calm, decisive, consistent, not perfect, consistent. Now let's make this practical. Forget yearly resolutions. They fade. Think in seasons. The next 90 days matter more than the next 12 months. In the next 90 days, you don't try to change everything. You protect 3 things. Your mornings, your focus, your word. Mornings decide momentum. Focus decides progress. Your word decides self-respect. If you win these 3, the rest adjusts naturally. Now pause here. What would change if you woke up knowing the first hour of your day was protected? No phone, no noise, no chaos. Just you, your mind, and one meaningful action. That 1 hour compounds. Slowly at first, then dramatically. Now let's talk about fear. Because fear didn't disappear in 2025. You just learned to live with it. Fear of starting. Fear of failing. Fear of being seen trying. But fear is not a stop sign. It's a direction sign. Points to growth. The people who grow in 2026 will not be fearless. They'll be willing. Willing to act while unsure. Willing to be uncomfortable. Willing to look foolish for a while. And here's the truth no one tells you. The fear of staying the same is greater than the fear of change. Once you feel it clearly, so feel it. Feel the cost of another unchanged year. The same routines. The same frustrations. The same conversations. Let that discomfort sharpen you. Now the final interruption. If nothing changed in your life for the next 12 months, how would you feel? That answer is your fuel. Not motivation. Fuel. Because motivation fades. But fuel burns steadily. Now here's the closing truth. 2026 is not waiting to save you. It's waiting to respond to you. Your habits will speak louder than your hopes. Your actions will shape your identity. And your identity will decide your results. If you remove those 3 habits, hesitation, passive consumption, and broken self-promises, 2026 cannot be like 2025. It becomes quieter, stronger, intentional, not because life gets easier, but because you get clearer. And clarity is power. So don't try to become a new person overnight. Just stop betraying yourself daily. That's enough. If this video gave you clarity, press like. It helps this message reach someone who needs it. Subscribe if you want calm, practical self-improvement without noise. And comment below, which habit ends here before 2026 begins? Because the year doesn't change people. People change years.